Hello guys, welcome back. This is another Redstone tutorial from uniwarriorJW, and this time I want to learn you about Redstone communication. As in real life, um, we have a few ways to communicate with electricity. So we have a way to communicate through the amount of voltage that is going through a wire. We have a way of measuring the just like on or off, and we also have an option of the length, like how long is a redstone signal going through. Um, just let me see render distance. Okay, that seems all right. Before I start this, um, okay. Um, okay, so as you maybe like could do, let's say this is an example of a station, right? Let me just set time to day. Okay, so let's say that this is an elevator or a station of some sort. I want to select a specific floor and I'm on the first floor. If I want to go to the second floor, I press the button that is with this line. Okay. Don't interrupt me. Don't interrupt me. Yeah, just go away. Okay. If I want to go to immediately to the third floor, I select this button, right? So, yeah, it looks pretty simple. But as you add more floors, things can become complicated. Because you need, every time you add a floor, you would need to connect this floor with all the other floors. And yeah, it becomes expensive in terms of redstone and resources, so it's not a very good way. Now, what you can do is have an elevator, and then you can say go up, and you can still choose go up. In that way, you just need one line. But in terms of a station, it's pretty difficult, especially if you have a station that brings you from here to all the way there, and another station go all the way there. You don't want to go to there to then eventually end up there. You want to immediately go over there. So yeah, that's not a good system. Now you can do it smart and use a binary system. In that way, you want to have a confirmation button and a select panel. Now, because a line can be on or off, you have two options with one line. Adding another one, you will have four options. Adding another one, you will get 8 options. You every time need to do 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 with the number of redstone lines you have. So the number of options increases exponentially with the number of redstone lines you have. So the first floor would have something like off, off, then the second would be on, off, and then the third one would be off, on, so different, reversed, and the fourth one would be on, on. In that way, you significantly increase the amount of redstone you need, and it becomes also very easy because you just combine all the redstone with all the floors instead of just separate lines between each one. But if you're gonna use the length, which I want to show you today, if you want to use the pulse length of redstone line, you only want to have one line. The more floors you add, just need one line. So that's easy. To the way how it works, well, to select the first floor or first station, you only need a pulse of 1 tick, the second one 2 ticks, the third one a pulse of 3 ticks, and the fourth one for 4 ticks, and so on and so on. To demonstrate this, I have a system here with 3 lights that are both set at the specific amount of ticks. So I think the frequency of the first one was something like this. Okay, let's change it back to night. Voila. If I now switch the lever, the first light, as you can see, turned on. Now if I increase the pulse length, you will see that only the second one will turn on. And if I increase it even a little bit more, then the third one will turn on, and all the others turn off, or stay off. Yeah. So that's really cool. So in this way, I can just send a message or data through one single redstone line. We only need a few devices. We're gonna need a remote at every station, and we're gonna need a detector, a pulse detector at every station. That's the only thing we need. Otherwise, you can have an as long line as you want. Okay. One little thing is that if you use very long lines and you want to use repeaters to extend it, you want to make sure that the minimum ticks that something has is longer than 4 ticks, so that the minimum amount of ticks are 5. Because if you have 1 tick pulse and it goes to repeater with 4 ticks, for instance, it will immediately be increased to 4 ticks, and your data is basically uh, overwritten. So yeah, so let's try to create this. The first thing that we need is a remote. So let's create a remote, and let's first change it back to day. Okay, so to create a remote, we actually need 2 NOT gates, right? So I first gonna let me see. I need a torch. So NOT gate here, and I will place it like this in a vertical line. You will see why. Or actually, I can do it like this. You can have it as long as you want. These are 2 NOT gates. So I'm gonna connect them both to each other. I have an output over here. And just to see from the side, you can also connect it from here. I'm gonna connect it through the side because I can see the output much better. So what happens is that when I turn this on, the output will be on as well, because the NOT gate causes it to revert, and the second one causes it to revert again. And 2 times NOT is basically nothing. So turn it on, signal is on, as you can see, and turn it back off, and the signal is off. Now what we want is we want that the pulse just has a specific length. So we want that at a certain amount of time the redstone signal turns off. So therefore you're gonna put some repeaters underneath this. You can increase the length very simply by extending this and putting more repeaters underneath it. That's just fine. Of course, at a certain moment, you will need to put a repeater above it, and then you come not with a 2 ticks thing to remove from your system, but with a 3 ticks to remove from your system. So yeah, if I now turn this on, you will see it was very short. I will try to do this again. The pulse turned on for a brief second. The shortest thing that we can have is basically this. No, one more repeater like this. This is the shortest pulse. To show you this, I'm gonna put a sticky piston over here. I know sticky piston can push and retract, but as the pulse is only 1 tick, uh, as the pulse normally would be 1 tick. Okay. So I think pistons only do that when it's a half tick, I guess. So you saw it. I did 2 ticks, and the piston did nothing, doing 3 ticks, and the piston did something. It was very short. Let's say that that was 1 tick. So if I add another repeater, that will be 2 ticks, and adding another one, that will be 3 ticks. And I can extend this like so, and putting the repeaters, and this is basically going to be your remote, changing the frequency and stuff like that. Yeah, so every time you put a repeater, you increase the minimum by 1 and increase the maximum by 4. So you have 3 more options. 4 minus 1 is 3, so you get 3 more options. So that's the remote, very easy. Let's just extend it a little bit more so you can see it a lot better. Whoops. Okay, if you do this, nothing happens. Okay, so I hope you have seen it. To create the detector, I actually invented this myself. It's still I'm not the first one. There are other designs on the internet. One that I found was using a comparator, but I thought, well, let's be a redstoner and let's try to invent it myself. So to begin with, we want to detect if the signal is long enough. Um, to see this a lot better, I'm gonna use a good color. Let's say just stone bricks. Let's just use stone brick. So let's say I have this, right? And the signal would come through here. If it's a short pulse, right, it will just go through here, and yeah, any pulse would just go through here. But let's say that the pulse is just the right size, then it would activate this block as well as this block at the same time. Now, also, if the pulse is too long, it will activate those two. But that's what I will fix later. But now, this is basically how to detect if the pulse is too short or not. If it's too short, it will only activate one block at a time. But if it's longer, it will activate both blocks. So we need to use an AND gate. So I'm gonna put a redstone torch up here, put some redstone dust, right? Okay, put a block up here, it's very important. Then you want to run the redstone line next to the repeaters and put a torch at the end. So the pulse will go through this first torch and then going to this second torch. If both torches are turned off, then the output, which is also a torch, will turn off. Um, so how can I quickly demonstrate this? Let's run the line like this. Okay, so if I do a short pulse, see how the pulse very quickly go from here to there. If I make it long enough, it turns on. Okay, so that's what we want. But now we want a thing that makes it so that if it's too long, that it doesn't turn on. We just do the same thing, right? Instead of detecting if the signal is that long, we want to detect a signal that is just one tick longer. So just put a repeater behind this, and this time put the torch one tick before this one. Then again, we want to put some redstone dust next to this, and we are going to connect this like the first one with the last torch. Like so. And then we connect it to an output, which is going to be this torch. So at this moment we have two outputs, but we want that if the signal would indeed activate this torch as well as this torch, that this turns off. So the only thing we need to do is connect this torch with this torch. Now, one problem you may ask is at a certain point, the pulse would activate both torches, right? So that means it's too long. Now, at a certain point, the signal will of course shorten and only activate those two, which means the pulse has the right length. But it isn't, because it was longer before, so we don't want to that it activates. But luckily enough, this torch doesn't react immediately. It stays one tick. So this torch can't activate if the signal is too long. So in that way, yeah, the long signal is ignored. Yeah, so if you want to increase this, you can just add text to the repeaters. But if you have maxed out all of the repeaters, you just need to extend this main line over here. That's the only thing you need to do. So just a quick recap. If the signal is too short, it can only activate one torch at a time. So it it will or activate this one or activate this one. It will not activate both. If it's just the right size, right, it will only activate this one and this one at the same time. So that's the right pulse. So we get a 1 tick pulse out of there. If the signal is too long, we activate both 3 torches. And this torch makes it happen that this torch, the output, stays off. Okay. When the signal is then shorter and only activate those 2, it will still ignore. So the machine will still ignore it because this torch is still on for about 1 tick. So yeah, that's it. If you want to create your own stations like that, just do. It's very easy. You can add as much stuff as you want. I think you have the most options with this one. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it was very useful. And if you learned something, leave a like. If you want to see more, subscribe to my channel. I'm currently busy with some custom sorry. I'm currently busy with some custom maps here. So if you want to see more of me, leave a like. But of course, I have exams at the moment, so you won't see that much videos. So thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys in another video. Thanks for watching.